Well, hello once again, and it's great to be able to be here with you today. We're coming from New Zealand, and Kate's in Christchurch, and we're going to look forward to being able to get to know Kate a little bit better. Some of you may know Kate, and some of you may not. So let's find out who Kate is and what she's all about. Hello, Kate.
Hello.
Well, that introduction took a long time to come.
Oh, see, the best things they you just got to wait for them, and then we arrive.
Yeah, well, never mind. And how's your day been in Christchurch?
It's been good. Very quiet. Very hot. So, I'm a little bit like sweating underneath all of this at the moment.
How can you be quiet and have children?
Um. Well, you sort of just like lock them. The good thing about our new house is we have this lounge, which is
Yep.
our adult lounge. Then we have that one with a TV. Oh gosh, I mean, as I say that, you can see them jumping up in the background. But the idea is that they stay in that room and just leave me alone.
Oh,
Granted, it doesn't always happen, but when it does, you just have to be like, "Oh, yes."
well, I was wondering how that worked. Anyway, so you ever been to J-Dub?
Yes. Yes, I
Yeah.
have. I have. I'm one of the very lucky few in this world
Oh,
to have that
that's one way to
experience.
one way to think about it. So,
Yeah, yeah.
what's your first memories? Seeing as you're one of those lucky people.
So I was born into the religion.
Yep.
My mum is I would say probably a second generation Jehovah's Witness, and my dad is the first from his family.
Hmm.
Um, he became a witness when he was about 31, after going through a divorce, seeing horrible things being in the fire brigade here in Christchurch. And he got quite depressed. So when they knocked on his door, um, it was sort of just like the scene was set perfectly for him to be enticed
Yeah.
into it. Granted, too, it was two females that knocked on the door. So I mean, I don't know if he was just like looking for a rebound, but yeah. So he got the truth. And then my mum grew up in Ireland, so she's Irish. Um, she got sent to New Zealand for a holiday because she was in love with a worldly guy. So she
Oh,
came over here and then met my dad, who was a divorcee, fresh out of the baptism pool of like not even a year. And they were engaged within a month, and then married within 6 months, and then had me 9 months later.
we can't
Yeah,
rush these things, can we?
you can't, no. So,
Wow.
yeah, so grew up, was born in Christchurch, then moved to Alexandra, which is a really small country town in the South Island, for those that don't know where that is. So there was only like, I think about 35 members at that
Hmm.
time. So the need was great. And dad had been medicaled out of the fire brigade.
Right.
So I grew up on a deer farm. He got into that. Um, and then they had my brother about 4 years later, and we were just like that perfect little family of four. And dad is slowly working up the ranks, becoming an MS, and then became an elder.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what's your memories like being a J-Dub?
Um,
Was it
it's
fun? Was it sad? Was it hard? Was it?
it's that's kind of hard because it's like there were there were some good memories,
Yeah.
like. But then there is also the memories of being the odd one out at school, or even the odd one out in the congregation because my dad was an elder.
Okay.
So I grew up in a small congregation
Yeah.
where there was only a handful of other kids. Their parents weren't pioneers or elders, um, elder children. So I was seen as the goody two shoes that if they were to invite me out anywhere, I would probably like knock on them. Whereas I wouldn't have. I would
Ooh.
have probably have loved to have let my hair down a lot sooner than I did. Um, and so I didn't have any friends.
Yeah.
And like from the age of, as soon as I was born, I was doing 70-hour field service months with my parents because they were both regular pioneers. Actually, no, I lie. It would have been about 90 hours back then.
Yep, 90 hours. That'd be right.
Yeah, so I can afford to be bad now because I've obviously got a really good standing upstairs because of all those hours I did. um, so yeah, so it's like some of the memories are good because
Yep.
there were good times. You had the kids' parties, even though they were, as you got older, you didn't really enjoy them being Bible based. It got a bit boring by that stage. But yeah, school probably was my hardest because country school, 4
Yeah.
Jehovah's Witnesses there, and you stood out like a sore thumb because
Mhm.
there were friends that wanted me to come and hang out with them after school, and then my mum would obviously be like, "Well, no, they're worldly, you can't." And the way mum
Yep.
would also say it to the other kids' parents made it sound like we thought they were super evil. So my mum made a lot of enemies at school because she just totally went over the top when telling them
Mhm.
why her daughter can't go hang out. Um, and like Christmas time when it was singing, you'd get called up to stand in front of the assembly and leave in front of the whole school because they're about to do their singing.
Yeah.
So yeah, you were just completely like, yeah, you just stood out. It
Mm.
was horrible. And like I even remember thinking, like when I was at school, like I could visually see the kids as goats. I think I've mentioned this before on another live. Um,
Goats?
yeah, well, because you know how they always like, we're sheep, they're
Yes.
goats. And so as a little kid, probably about my daughter's age, about 8, I actually, when I saw my friends in the classroom, to me they were goats, and I was this one little lone sheep. And I
Okay.
can't get too close because I might just turn into a goat.
Ooh.
Like, oh my goodness. So, yeah, it was tough, but you got on with it because it was like, well,
Yeah.
we're meant to be persecuted, we're meant to be different. I'm not even gonna finish primary school. The new system's gonna be here by primary school's ends. And then like when high
Mhm.
school happened, oh, it's okay because at the end I'm not even gonna graduate high school because the new system's coming.
Mhm.
So that's how I looked at going to school, was just okay, it's all good. It's gonna be over soon and you're all gonna die and I'm gonna be like living in a mansion.
Yep. Yep. Okay, well,
Yeah.
let's just stop there for a moment and go back in time. Tell me about this picture here.
Aww, isn't that cute?
You've got such a wonderful storybook on your lap.
I know. See, now that's me learning to read at a very young age, and full of life lessons. I think I'm
Yep.
grinning. I'm sort of looking a bit proud of myself because I've just learnt how to get away with murder. Um, Moses. Yeah, that's the one of Moses.
Yeah.
What did he do? He killed somebody because, an Egyptian, because what were they doing? They were beating up a slave or something. One of God's people.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that'd be about right. I was just trying to
goodness
find what
me.
story it was. Is Moses. Oh, number 29.
29, there you go. I mean, look at that. Of all the pages I could have open,
Yeah. Oh, you
I
must.
mean, that
That's
is
where you
just
got the
like,
rebel stage from as well, too.
yeah, and look at the eyes. I mean, they're even glowing a bit red. I mean, that is just like,
And here you are with your daddy.
there's my father.
That's your father. And what do you have in your lap?
We're still reading together because
Still,
we've got to get, he's got to get that time in. I wasn't quite baptized at that age.
you weren't, and why not?
I know. Goodness me. Yeah, that was us in a hotel in Ireland. So we'd gone back to see my mum's family then.
Right. So coming back to New Zealand, I'm guessing this is New Zealand. What's the story
Yep.
in that photo? Because you're still pretty young there. How old would you have been then?
Gosh, I wonder. I'm probably about 9 or 10. So that's going to a convention with the family. So, um, yeah, Christchurch there. because we used to have conventions in Dunedin for a very long time.
Yeah.
And then I think just because everybody grew, had lots of babies, we had to move to a bigger venue. So Christchurch became the new convention venue. And yeah, I mean, and it was enjoyable, sort of, getting in the car, getting away for the weekend. You're going to be around all the brothers and sisters and see friends that you haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, yeah, the people we used to stay with, they owned an emu and ostrich farm. So it was exciting going to go stay because we got to go see all the baby
Oh, the
birds that were being
babies.
hatched and things like that. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so I don't know what your father's doing here, but what
So
was he on? What it looks like he's trying to be the abominable snowman, just dressed in the wrong outfit.
I know. So this is hang on. Sorry, one moment. I've got my partner talking to me through the window. Oh, cup of tea! Yes, please. Oh, isn't he
And
great?
when he comes and brings it, he should introduce himself.
I will. Yes, tea. I was thinking, is it like gin and tonic? I mean, that would be good, but there was no G.
Ah,
Tea, yes.
tea, though.
He's out there picking up dog poos, it looks like.
Oh,
Um,
lovely job.
so yeah, no, so in Central Otago, we have like the extremes of the summer and the winter.
Yeah.
So you have like the hot summers of 40 degrees, and then wintertime, our record is negative 22 degrees.
You can
Um,
have that.
it's flippin' freezing, and we're still expected to go out country witnessing on black ice roads. So this is somewhere in the middle of nowhere. I wouldn't know where it is. We would have probably most likely driven 2 hours to get to one house. I loved
Wait,
country wit
counting
I
time.
actually loved country witnessing because
Yeah.
it was like that. You drove for hours and you'd go to that one house and there was no one there, and then you'd have lunch. It was brilliant.
That's
But,
brilliant.
yeah, that was a hoarfrost, so
That's the hoarfrost.
it's frost on top of frost on top of frost. It's not snow, and he was shaking them. That's me getting ready for a memorial, I believe.
So
Look
you've
how
grown
happy
up a
I
little.
look. I mean, I look super duper just in love with life there.
Yeah, we can tell.
I'm loving the hair. I think I need to bring that style back, that crimp.
Your brother looks happier than you, though.
Oh, of course he was. He was the golden boy.
And you
Yeah,
weren't the golden boy.
I was not the golden boy. I would love to have been the golden boy.
Why?
Because you get away with murder. You come across as all sweet and perfect. See, and I just came across as just like, oh, what are you going to do with her?
Are
Another
you
country.
getting ready to go for a ride on this horse or something?
That would have been awesome. I'd rather have been doing that. That was country witnessing again, because in Alexandra, all there is country witnessing. So mum is always up for a photo opportunity. So there's a horse. Grab your daughter, take a photo.
Oh,
They want you to say hello and introduce yourself.
well,
No,
just
it's
a
not
minute,
awkward at
Dave.
all.
Just a minute. We'll just get rid of this picture so we can bring you up. And we'll just bring you in a little bit so we can see your gorgeous face. There he is. How you going, man?
Yeah, I'm all good.
Oh, that's
Perfect.
good.
He's such a good boy. He's brought me in a cup of tea.
I'll leave it.
Okay.
Did she train you to do that, David?
He's I didn't have to train him. He's a pom.
What's a pom got to do with being trained? Has he already
Because
been
all
trained?
they do is drink cups of tea, isn't it? And
I don't know.
wave
I'm not
for
from
the
England.
Queen.
Oh, I see.
Poor
Well, it's
boy.
nice to
I
meet
don't know how he
David.
puts up with me. There we
Well,
go.
I won't ask you. I should ask him, but we won't do that.
He's run away now.
Right away. Okay, so you've grown up a little bit more here. You've got
Yes.
more here because it looks like it's almost like a mohawk, but it's not quite.
I know. That was so liberating. So this I did about 3-4 years ago. I'd left my my husband, who wasn't a witness. So I ended up actually marrying out of the truth. I married a soldier boy. And anyway, it didn't work out. Left him, and you know, when you're at the rock bottom, and you live in another city. I mean, I was still a witness here. Actually, reinstated. I'd been disfellowshipped before as well, obviously, because I
Okay.
got married out of the truth. But like rock bottom, had no money, had no house, nothing. Solo
Yeah.
mum with 2 kids, no job. And it was always go out witnessing, pray to Jehovah. The blessings are going to come. He's going to get you through this.
Right.
Well, I hardly prayed. I hardly went out witnessing. Didn't go to too many meetings. And yet I was able to find myself my own house, get a job, get my own car, get my daughter enrolled in a school. You know, it was just like, I'm actually doing this. Went and divorced my husband and just shaved the sides of my hair off, just as a, you know what, I can actually do this. I can
Yeah.
be independent. So that was a big step for me then.
All right. So there's your 2
Um,
children with your parents.
They're my 2 beautiful babies. So this is going back, I think my son's not even 2 there, so he's almost 5 now. But yeah, after I left my husband, I did a lot of going down to Alexandra to be with mum and dad
Yeah.
for holidays, because it was just really, I didn't have much of a social circle up here in Christchurch, because I was seen as
Yeah.
someone that'd been disfellowshipped before, reinstated, married out of the truth. Now I'm divorced.
You're
So
a rebel, mate. You're a
I
rebel.
really, really was. So I used to go home to my parents a lot for holidays. So that's taken in their Kingdom Hall.
Okay. So talking about rebels,
Yeah.
tell us a bit about
Yeah.
these likely lasses.
Oh, you know, this was so much fun. So I had been, this was on a Saturday or a Sunday, I can't remember. But
Yeah.
I just recently been to a meeting, and
Right.
then it was after that, it was time to get my my partying shoes on. And I went to one of my girlfriend's sister's birthday, and the theme was 90s. So I went
Right.
to a grunge style, and it was just awesome. Like, I went there, and I had my girlfriend who knew I was a Jehovah's Witness at the time, but didn't
Yep.
treat me any differently. I was
Yeah.
just like one of the gang, one of the girls. It was so much fun.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a great time with them. Totally
Yeah.
didn't get drunk, I promise. Totally did
Yeah.
not get drunk.
Did you get up to anything else though?
Totally didn't smoke.
Much.
Of course not.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I had a great fun. Yeah, had an awesome time. So it was starting to realize that I did have, you know, I did have a personality inside of myself. I did have a lot of fun to have with people.
Yeah.
And that I just wanted to be able to express it and be free. So, you know, I mean, I think I'm a pretty fun person. And yeah, places like this, and just being able to, you know, I mean, sometimes I'd still feel guilty. Like, I would feel bad the next day thinking, oh my goodness, what if someone saw me, or what if
Yeah.
something. But when I was actually at the parties, and actually with my friends that I knew respected me and loved me no matter what background I was,
Great.
it was really amazing. I really enjoyed it.
So you said you've been disfellowshipped twice. What's the story here?
Oh, that's when I just got reinstated the first time. So I got disfellowship the first time when I think I was 19 or 20.
Yep.
Obviously got kicked out of the family home because my dad's an elder, and he didn't want to lose his eldership or whatever. So I left home. In that time, I had got married, and moved to the North Island to live on a military camp with my then husband. And I got reinstated up there because I was in the middle of nowhere. My husband was away a lot. I was very lonely, and I got to a stage where I really needed my family back in my life. Like, I
Yeah.
really missed my mum. So I worked hard at getting back reinstated, and I did. And I flew down then to Queenstown, saw my mum at the
Yep.
airport. There was lots of
Yep.
tears and just hugs, and it was very surreal. Because up until that point, like when I first got disfellowshipped, I'd walk past her in shops when I did live in Alexandra, and we'd be like this close, like I could breathe on her, and she'll just look the other way. And I really, really struggled with that.
Right.
So yeah, when I got reinstated, Mum cooked me or baked me a yay, you reinstated cake. So she wanted a picture of me cutting the cake. Yes. So it was a bit of a celebration. It was totally like the prodigal son type thing. Like there were gifts, drinks. She had some friends come over. She had my brother come. I think he was living in Queenstown at that time. I'm not too sure, but he came for a family dinner. So yeah, it was just a whole big celebration that their daughter had finally returned back to Jehovah.
So obviously around Christmas time, there's Christmas lights.
Yeah. No, I got
Right?
everything. I even got the lights. I said
You
that to
even
them too.
got
I
the
said,
lights.
this looks a little bit pagan.
Oh. So tell me, what are you doing to that cake?
Stabbing it, imagining that it's like, oh my God, I'm back in the fold. Shit. Let's
Um,
just eat cake.
and Mum didn't even sign write it.
No, I mean, goodness
Shortchanged
me.
you.
Totally. In my
Totally
sexy
shortchanged
pajamas.
you. Okay, so
Yeah, that's like when I was with my mum, like we
yeah,
really were like the best of friends. I embarrassed her because she's Irish. She
yeah,
went to a proper school, she would
yeah,
always tell me. And
proper school.
whereas I am just a little bit more out the gate, I don't care what I say, what I do. So I was always doing something stupid that just made mum roll her eyes pretty much. But we had a lot of fun. Like I remember that day. It was really, really good time. We'd gone down because Alexandra had a blossom festival where they celebrate the coming of spring, which technically should be a pagan celebration, but all the witnesses come out to it. And yeah, there's just blossom all over the town. And so she took me and the kids to all these little places that she used to take me as a baby and wanted to do some photo shoots. So I got a bit bored with the proper photo. So I thought I'm just going to
Eat
attack
them.
these flowers and eat them.
Eat them. Now this doesn't look like the same person that is in this photograph, or is it?
No. Well, yes, but no. Look at that. She's
Yes,
even
but
got the
no.
haircut.
Yeah.
That's probably only about like 8 months later from that last
Okay.
photo. Um,
So that's 8 months difference between that and that.
yeah. So up until this stage, I was living a double life. I had my friends that weren't witnesses, and then I had my just meeting attendance, which
That's
was pretty
meetings.
piss poor, really. Only because I'd go to meetings and then leave crying because nobody would talk to me, or
Yeah.
you'd find out about these gatherings and these parties and these kids' parties, and my children haven't been invited. So I decided, well, you know what? That's it. I'm out, and I'm going to give my children the life that they deserve. So I'd always wanted to go to a Holly festival. And in Christchurch, it's held every year.
Right.
Unfortunately, last year's and this year's hasn't,
Yep.
obviously with COVID. But it was so much fun. It's Indian. It's like Bollywood music. It's throwing, like it's just like not giving a care in the world. You're around all these people that are there just to have a good family, wholesome time.
Yeah.
And you just go up to people and you're just like, happy Holly, and then you throw this coloured cornflower at them. And there was like these big huge cannons and they were going off. And then me and Lily went and got like a henna tattooed on our hands, and we just had the bestest time. Arthur was a little bit nervous. He didn't really like all the people coming up to him with like full coloured
Oh,
faces,
okay.
just throwing stuff at his face. But Lily
What
was
did you
just,
think about his mum with the full coloured face?
He wasn't sure. He wasn't sure what had happened to his very conservative, proper mother. But me and Lily just had an absolute blast. It was so much fun. Yeah.
Oh, that's so good. I can see somebody takes after you down the bottom of the screen, though.
Oh, I'm in for a really bad time when she's a teenager.
Well, at least you know what it's like to be you.
I know. She's a really, really good wee girl. And she was amazing. So she was going to meetings from the day she was born, because I was reinstated by the time I got pregnant.
Yep.
And I took her to meetings because it was, well, Armageddon's coming and I don't want to be the reason my daughter dies.
Yeah.
And also it was a bit of a social thing for me when I lived in the North Island because I was on a military camp.
Where was the military camp? Wairu?
Yes, I lived in Waiuru. So my closest congregation was Owakuni, which was
Yep.
25 minutes away, and there was only 18 people.
Yep.
And if anybody was sick, well, then it was a meeting of like 10 people. So it was a great congregation because it was so remote, and a lot of the people were ones that had come into the faith. A lot of them had partners and husbands and wives that weren't witnesses. So it was the most relaxed congregation I had
Yeah.
ever come across, to the point where it was like, are these elders even like elders?
Yeah.
But it was really, really good, and it was great. And Lily did well. She was going to meetings from such a young age, witnessing. And then it did just get a bit harder as they got older, because then I had
Yeah.
2 kids to take to the meetings, and you're looking after a baby. And
Yep.
poor Lily would be sitting on her own on an aisle because she's got to still sit and listen. Yeah, I
And
think
there they are,
she
dressed up.
had to grow up a lot. She had to grow up pretty quick, really.
Mm.
Yeah. I loved dressing them up. That was probably the only thing I enjoy about the meetings.
What, did you
It's
miss out playing with dolls when you were younger or so?
No, but
No?
these dolls actually breathed. It's like these dolls actually they breathe. It's cool. Oh,
Well,
that's
your
getting
daughter's got
really.
a lovely smile. Oh, and so is your son's got a lovely smile. But the one I want to look at is this person here.
Yeah, look how just uneasy that is. So I felt that whenever I got ready for a meeting, because I was living a double life, it was almost like I had to document to my
No,
parents,
okay.
look at us, we're about to go to the meeting, just to sort
Yeah.
of keep them off my back, and just to be like, oh yeah, she's doing good. We can, just let her be for another week.
Yeah.
And I think I probably did it a lot for myself as well, just to be like, yep, I'm doing the right thing. Looking
Okay.
back now, though, I'm just like those poor children having to be taken out in the evenings.
Well, I'm sure they'd rather be doing this, though.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, well, since we've left, I've had chats with Lily because she's old enough.
Yep.
Asking her if she's happy with the life changes, and she said that she loves seeing Mummy happy.
That's great.
And that she said, oh, the meetings were boring. And I'm like, yeah, they probably were. I remember when I was a kid, they were bloody boring. It's not normal for a kid to sit there for 2 hours and listen to some old geezer up on the stage.
No, it isn't. Definitely not.
Yeah.
They should really liven it up. Tell stories and things.
Oh, they really should. They should have some sisters up there. We would get the party started.
So this obviously isn't with the J-Dubs. What's going on here?
So this is Arthur's birthday last year.
Yep.
And so up until I was disfellowshipped a second time, when I was married to my then husband, he would throw parties for the kids anyway, because obviously he's not a witness, and I'd be a little bit like, oh my god, this is so bad. But then once I got disfellowshipped and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to go out and have fun and do it all. I threw Arthur his first proper party last year, Spider-Man themed, because it's his favorite. And it was so much fun, like just to see his face light up with the cake that he's always wanted, and to be with his
Yeah.
friends,
Yeah.
and to celebrate life. Like there's nothing pagan, and nobody lost their heads that day. Except for
Really?
Spider-Man, his head did
Oh,
fall off a
poor
couple of times.
Spider-Man.
I did have to glue it back on. But it was so much fun, and it's his birthday this Saturday, so I am in the process of organising another cake. This time it's policeman themed. So
Policeman.
I'm just happy to be able to do this fun stuff for the kids and let them enjoy being children and
Yeah.
experience just everything that I never got to experience.
Yeah.
I think I do most of these sort of cakes for myself. I'm like, oh, this is the 4-year-old cake that I never had.
Which is fair enough. And then you come along in a little bit, and then you meet David, who we met before, the Englishman who likes to make cups of tea.
Yes.
How did you meet him?
So I was still in the religion.
Oh.
So I was still in the religion, and my bestest girlfriend, who wasn't a witness,
Yes.
she got me a birthday present, and the birthday present was tickets to speed dating, because she was at the stage of her
Oh.
life where she wanted to get married, have babies, and I was like, well, I'll go with you anyway for just the hell of it, to be your wing woman, because I've done the marriage and the babies. I'm divorced now. I want to have some fun. So I went to it and met him. And then it was like, oh, okay, this wasn't supposed to happen, because I'm not supposed to be dating worldly men. I'm trying really hard to be good, But obviously I wasn't good.
Yes, you were. You were being normal.
I was being normal, yes. And after some serious counselling, so before I actually got disfellowship, so I secretly was dating Dave.
Yep.
And anyway, the thing was, he broke up with me because I know. I still don't let him live it down to this day. He broke up with me because he was, and I think this is where I was realizing how much of a nice guy he was.
Right.
Because he knew I was religious, because I
Yep.
just had to let that one slip, and they start asking about your family.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I said, look, I'm actually a Jehovah's Witness. Technically, I'm not allowed to be seen with you. Like, we would go on dates, and the whole time, like, I really want to be enjoying the moment, but I'm like this the whole time. Like, is there anybody in this cafe that recognizes me?
Yeah.
And they're going to report back. So he broke up with me because he was like, I don't want to be what comes between you and your family. Even though I really like you, you need your family. Everybody needs their parents. I can't be the reason that you lose all that. So we broke up, and I had just like this bit of a breakdown. So I was just like, I'm so over this life. Like, I can't. I've tried to date witnesses, and they were absolute just jokes of people. I mean, I know not all of them are like that, but the couple that I did try to get to know, one was an elder, and he was really inappropriate. Like, he could have got us both disfellowshipped. The other one was an MS who wanted a photo of me when I was pregnant and married that he found on my mum's Instagram page to help him combat pornography. So it was just like, I'm trying so hard to be good, and then when I meet someone that's actually a decent guy, super nice, really respectful, he's got to break up with me because I could lose my family or my friends. So I ended up having a bit of a meltdown at the Kingdom Hall about it. And of course, I didn't want to tell anyone, because it was like, okay, well, we're broken up. Nobody's ever going to have to know that I had this bit of a slip up. But, you get these sisters, and it's always the one that you do really like. And then they just, oh, it's okay, you can tell me what's going on. We're not going to tell anyone. And, blah, 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 blah. And they just, you're like, don't do it. And the next minute you're like, yeah, so.
Gone burgers.
And then as soon as you just even make an inkling of some sort of sin, it's okay. Well, my husband's an elder, so I'm gonna have to tell him. I'm like, oh my God, can we not just have like a woman to woman chat of how douchey men are. Like, we don't need to go down the road of judicials. So anyway, I went down the road of judicials and got disfellowshipped. And I was told that I have an issue with men and that I need time, one-on-one time now, to be with God on my own.
Yep,
and
that'll
I
solve
was
the
like-
world's problems.
I was like, you know what? You're so on point. I need to be on my own with God. You're right. And it was the best thing. I've had the best time now with God. So anyway, yeah, long story short, we found each other again. And I said, look, you're not going to be the reason I lose my family, because I've walked away from that. And it's now about living my best life, being happy, and finding the person right for me and who's right for
Yeah.
my children. Like, you know, there was nobody in the congregations that I could like trust my children with. And I just thought, I'm not going to put myself in another unhappy relationship just so that I can still go down to Alexandra every now and then and see my parents.
Yeah.
So so we've been together now for a couple of years. We've just moved into our own house, so we just bought a house.
Nice.
Kids absolutely love him. My parents actually like him. They've met him a couple of times, although they did try to witness to him the other day. That
How
did
did
not
that
go
go
down
down?
well. Texted him. Oh my gosh, Shane. She texted
Texted?
him.
Yeah.
She texted him saying, I know you've probably got your own beliefs, but, you know, we like to just express to others, rah. Here is a link to a watchtower that we're promoting this month. And I was just
Of
like,
course.
oh my God, like, are you freaking kidding me? He was so good, though. He replied back along the lines of, thank you, but I would appreciate it if you would rather practice what you preach and instead of like witnessing to me or something like that, something along those lines. So he like fully put it back on them, and they went dead silent, so he hasn't heard back from them. I was like, oh my God, seriously, you're trying to witness to him?
Well, at least he knows the ins and outs, a lot of it.
Oh yeah, I mean, sometimes it gets him a bit like, what the hang?
Yeah.
But he's pretty good with it all. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
I think it's me that sort of goes a bit mental more than he does.
I'm not commenting on that, Kate. Anyway, we've got one final photograph, and this one I know is a very special one for you.
Yes. So this is like one of the most amazing things to happen in my life. So obviously, now that I'm disfellowshipped, I have a brother who's in the religion, who's got a family. I've got half sisters that also have families. So I am an auntie, but not an auntie. And that's always broken my heart, that I'm just going to be this distant auntie that has gone wayward. But one of my bestest friends who has been with me my whole journey of leaving the religion. She was my friend while I was in it.
Yep.
The brothers and sisters and my parents tried to stop the friendship because she's worldly, even though she was the one that would actually say to me, you need to keep going to the meetings. Like, you need to be good or you'll lose your family. Like, she was actually like, I'd be like, oh, girl, shut up. You're not even a witness. But she was just so, like, supportive. And she knew that at that time in my life, I needed my parents. So, and then, like, coming through it. And she's the one that bought me the ticket to the speed dating. So,
Was she just?
We've been together through absolutely everything. And now she has just met an amazing guy.
Oh, lovely.
And they've just had this little baby, and I'm the godmother. So I'm the wee aunt. I'm going to be the auntie to this lovely little soul, and it's hard to put into words really, because it's something that I thought I would never be able to experience. I thought, because I mean, every day I've got to sort of pretend like my parents are dead or that I don't have any siblings. It's the only way I can cope, really. and like my kids don't have any cousins to play with. So to be given this really special like privilege is just like beyond words. So yeah, it's been a rough few years. It was definitely hard when I first got out of the religion. But I tell you what, the blessings that I have received since leaving the religion where it's supposed to be like the best life ever.
Yeah.
It's just like the blessings I've received now are just completely out the gate. Like it's really, really insane. I couldn't have dreamed up a more happier ending really to my life. Oh God, that sounded really cheesy, didn't it?
Well, it sounds like you're going to die in the next 24 minutes or something, and that's your life over. But it's just starting.
No, my life is just starting. Yeah, and like it's been really cool to be able to do the odd YouTube women's panel with the girls, because I know how scared I was when I first started waking up and thinking I was the only one going through the changes or the doubt. And then also thinking, oh my goodness, like you can't talk to other people that have left the witnesses because they're so bad. Like the whole word apostasy is just like this disgusting disease. And then to realize that we're just all normal people. Like there's nothing demonic about us. There's nothing wrong. I think we all become a lot more stronger as a brotherhood. Because it's a more honest friendship than when you were at meetings and conventions and you got the fake smile and oh, we should catch up next week. Oh yeah, we really should. And then you have that same conversation the next week at the meeting. Oh, we should catch up. Oh yeah, we really should.
And then it goes the same thing month after month, year after year.
Yeah.
So looking back over some of the things that you've gone through, you briefly mentioned it's not been easy. How would you compare it? Well, not so much compare, but describe what you went through when you got this fellowship, got reinstated, then got disfellowshipped.
Yeah, so the first time I got disfellowshipped, it was obviously super hard. I was 19 to 20.
Yeah.
And at that age, you're still very immature because you've lived such a sheltered life.
Yeah.
Obviously, I was an embarrassment to my parents, so I had to leave the family home, which caused me to live in some houses that I wouldn't dream of ever visiting again. I got to a really low stage in life. There was alcohol, there was drugs, completely wrong friends that I was mixing with. But I was still very determined not to admit to my parents that I had gone to a whole new low. Like I wanted to prove that I could do what I was doing. And there was a couple of times where I still ran home to them. But then I just remember how much I hated it. So then I would bugger off again. And then I got to Christchurch. I moved to Christchurch and I lived with my worldly auntie for a couple of years.
Yep.
And it was like I'd come to a city where nobody knows me. I don't know hardly any witnesses here. So I can go out, experiment with everything and just have fun without looking over my shoulder. And I did. I really, really enjoyed life. And then it was, once I got married, I needed just my mum back. Because it was like suddenly I had to grow up. I wasn't ready to grow up. And being reinstated, I thought it was never going to happen. I thought, no, this is probably my life. I'm going to be disfellowshipped forever. I had written letters to elders in the past for reinstatement and got rejected. And so I remember I wrote this letter and I thought I'll probably still get rejected. But this was that small congregation in Awakuni where the elders are pretty cruisy. So it was pretty easy to get back in. And I did. I cried so much when they announced it. Like I was like a blubbering mess. I was like, oh my goodness, you cheese. It But it was just like, I think it was just because it was like a whole 3 years not
Yeah.
being able to talk to anyone, not being able to talk to my parents, and suddenly it was like, it was really overwhelming because like you've been going to the meetings for so long, sitting in the back, and then all of a sudden, woof, like you get that announcement and the whole congregation are around you, people that I didn't
Yep.
know. And I think I was just more just like busting to see my mum. Like that was the only thing. People were like, "Oh, why did you come back?" Like they always ask you that. What made you return to Jehovah? And I was just like, I just wanted to see my mum, pretty much. Like, yeah, I just wanted to be back with my mum. And yeah, so when I saw her when I got reinstated, it was like so amazing.
Yep. Yeah.
And so that's probably been the only difficult thing now that I still deal with is not having my mum when I've got something really amazing to share or a new accomplishment or just to talk. Like we would text like nonstop all day and call probably up to 3 times a day.
Yep.
So we were just always in each other's life. So the only thing that does get me down sometimes is just not being able to talk to
Talk with
mum.
mum.
Yeah.
So if somebody was in a very similar situation, with what you now know, with what you've been through, so we're not talking the future from this point on, we're talking about what you've been through. What bit of encouragement would you give to those ones who have been disfellowshipped? They're sitting there by themselves because they think they can't speak and can't go and find friends and they can't do anything. What would you tell them?
It is really scary. Like you can't downplay that. It's scary to think that you're all alone, but the thing is you're not alone. The world isn't scary. Nobody is out there to get you.
Yeah.
You need to just like completely own it. Like if going to the meetings and doing all of the witness stuff isn't for you, then you can't waste your life on it because you're just going to be unhappy. I mean, I suffered from huge depression because I was suppressing who I truly was.
Yeah.
And it's not until you get out and like you go out and you go on the internet and you join some groups. I went to a couple of like what really helped me is I got into like the meditation side of things, so all about self-healing
Yeah.
and looking into myself because for so long you haven't been living your own identity. You've been living the identity
Yeah.
of your parents, the congregation, the organization. It's needing to just look after yourself and finding out who you are, what makes you tick, what makes you happy. And then it's amazing just what sort of manifests and comes into your life. So I would go to these Facebook meetups of, like-minded people. And like, you don't have to talk to anyone, but it's just getting a bit of a taster of what it's like sitting beside a worldly person and not turning into a goat. um, you know, go out for those drinks after work. If the work colleagues are going out for a drink on a Friday evening, just be like, yeah, hang out, I'm going to come too. And, just after that, you just start to get a bit more confidence and you'll find that you are,
Yeah.
when you're showing your confidence and shining, people are going to be attracted to you and they're going to be like, okay, you know what? That's a really cool person. I want to hang out with them. Yeah, it's just you just got to have that belief in yourself. I think that's just the really important thing.
Would you encourage anybody to go back?
No. No, I've got some friends that are thinking of leaving. And I know the struggle that they're having because I've
Yeah.
been there. And they've got parents in the religion. And that is the hardest thing. But at the end of the day, like, do you want to just be living your life for your family, your parents, or do you want to be living life for you the way you know you're meant to be? Because at the end of the day, nobody, like at the end of the day, like, I mean, I've left the religion now. If my parents really, really loved me and they had unconditional love, they would still be in my life. And so I have to be a fake person for them to accept me and love me.
Yeah.
That was a big thing to have click in my head, was to have the love and affection from my family and the approval. I had to be a completely fake person.
Yep.
They can't love me for who I truly, truly am.
What was the
And
light bulb moment when it clicked in your head?
Definitely after I got disfellowshipped the second time.
Yeah.
I didn't go back to meetings at all. I told mum and dad how I was treated in that last judicial and how inappropriate things were and things that were said to me, things that I've been dealing with between me and my ex-husband. And it was stuff that the authorities would not blink, that they would just be like, what the hell? But I was told that it was because I wasn't praying enough or going out witnessing enough that I was going through these
Yeah.
trials. And I
Yeah.
told my mum and dad this, and they believed, they said, no, there's no way the elders would have said that to you. And I was just like, if you're going to sit there and believe that the elders didn't say this to me, then I can't have you in my life. I can't have you around my children, because I am here to protect my kids to the day I die. And I couldn't believe it, that I said to them, this is what these three elders have said, that I'm the problem, and all these things that are happening to me and my kids at the moment is because I'm not praying enough to Jehovah. I was like, I'm pretty sure I've been trying to pray to him and be like, hey, I need some help, big guy. But it wasn't until I walked away and started doing things my own that things started to change. And I said to mum and dad too, I said, if Lily ends up getting baptized one day, or Arthur gets baptized one day, and then they stuff up, you guys are going to be the first ones to turn your back
Yep.
on these kids. I said, your love is so conditional. Like it's insane. Oh, no, of course not. Of course not. I was like, I said, no. I said, I've got to protect my children from that. I'd rather them never, ever, ever get baptized, so that if they do something silly, you're still going to talk to them. But I was like, that's what you've done to me. I got baptized at 14 because my dad was an elder, and I felt like I had to do it to be a good example.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't realize that I was signing my death certificate.
No young one does.
No.
No, none of them do. Even in the organization book, there is no disclaimer or transparency to say, well, if you go and do this, this is what's going to happen. So next time you see those guys, you can go and give them a big hug and say thank you.
Oh, totally. I will.
Okay,
I'll be like, you know what? Thank you so much. I found the light.
Yeah, you did. Okay, so that's in a past life. They've helped you get out, and
Yep.
you've listened to what happened in the judicial and how inappropriate it was. What's your life now? You briefly highlighted what your life is like now. What do you, we had a question come in. What do you love doing these days?
So these days I am just all about my family and friends.
Yeah.
I am now a professional Reiki practitioner. So
Okay.
I've always sort of been spiritual, but not in the same sense as Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yep.
I've always thought there was something else out there. And I've just, over the years, done more research into it, and with the help of my partner, he helped me get on a couple of courses. So, and just doing stuff like that has just I'm not judged for anything. I'm doing what I want. I'm believing what I want. I have some friends that are in the same sort of work that I do.
Yep.
And so yeah, I do a lot of that sort of stuff, and that's really fun. I have the most social life now. Um, we were at the weekend. We saw so many friends, and that just would never have happened when I was in the religion. I
Nope.
had no social life, and it's just meeting all these people and like meeting Dave's friends and just being accepted. And not all of them know my background, which they don't have to, but they're still like accepting me for who I am and
Yeah.
enjoying my company. Whereas, when I was in the religion, there were houses that you'd go to and the ones that didn't like you. Like you could just feel the tension in the room or the fakeness of it all.
Yep.
And now it's just great fun. Yeah.
Cool. Because you wouldn't have been able, if you were still a JW, would you have been able to do the Reiki?
No. No, I used to wear a few crystals.
Okay.
But I used to just be like, oh, this is, jewelry.
Yep.
Um, and then, I had a few sort of experiences happen and I was a bit like, okay, if Jehovah really exists and all these other things exist, then this should not have happened. Like, why has this
Mhm.
just happened? And then it was like, oh, maybe it's you get taught about all these terrible things, it's a demon attack or it's all these other crazy things. And I just thought, no, you know what? I want to I've had to believe everything my parents have said, everything the organization have said. I've never been
Yeah.
allowed to do my own research or choose what I want to believe, what I want to follow. Okay, it might not be for everybody. It might not even be a legit thing, but it's something that I've chosen to follow and do. And I think
Great.
that's too why I enjoy it more. It's because, well, no one's pushed me into this. It's okay, this sounds cool.
Yep.
I'm going to do this. Yeah.
Well, it's nice to see the passion.
Yeah. Thanks.
It's nice to see a true smile.
Yeah. Yeah, and
It's
it never used to happen. I
well,
was
you look
very,
at the
very good at
photos.
I was very good at faking
Yeah.
being happy, like, walking into a congregation, smiling, and then as soon as I'm getting into the car, I'm already in tears, thinking, "What am I doing?" Like,
Mm,
I have no friends, nobody's sitting beside no one's helping me with a toddler and a screaming baby. Um, you're getting these looks, "Oh, she can't control her kids, I wish they'd be quiet because we're trying to listen." And you were just like, "I'm so done with this."
yeah, I can
I don't want to be
imagine.
stuck in a concentration camp with you lot ever.
Suppose that's one way of looking at it.
Oh, that's what mum would always say. She goes, "Oh, you got to be nice to these people because one day you'll have to be in a concentration camp with them." And I'm thinking, I would be like literally bribing the guard to be like, "You need to move me to another cell." I'd rather be like on my own four walls.
Well, you don't have to worry about that.
I don't. No, and I've still got some friends that are soldiers, so if the end does come, I'll just be like, "Hey, remember me?"
Well, I want to say thank you for being your authentic self during our little chat.
Oh, thank you so much. It's been really good actually just to because I don't really talk about it much. I mean, I talk to Dave a bit about my past and things
Yeah.
like that, but I don't really it's a bit of a depressing sort of, thing that it's just like, oh, he doesn't need to know all that sort of jargon, but if
Yeah.
there's anybody that's watching this now or later that are sort of in two minds and they don't know what's going on, like just to know that there's other people that have gone through it. And it is hard. No one's ever going to say it's easy. Changing your
Yeah.
whole mindset and lifestyle and walking away from people that you think or thought were genuine family and friends.
Yeah.
It's always going to be hard, but nothing's ever easy. Like good things are never easy. You got to work for it, and then the blessings are just amazing.
Yeah. Nice bit of advice at the end there.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for being on the live stream.
Thanks for having me.
No, that's all right. We just had one more the comment come in. Good luck on your journey, Kate.
Thank you. And look, I've got my Christmas tree in the background.
Your Christmas. Well, make sure we blow this up so that we can see your Christmas tree.
I got my Christmas tree.
Oh,
I've
you got a
one.
white one.
I got one here. It's full of crystals
Yeah.
and butterflies and all
Yep.
sorts of pretty things. And then this is the one that I decorate because it has to be perfect. And then the children have got one out in their room, which is just like, I don't care. It's yours. Do what you want. This one they were not allowed to touch.
And do you think they'll listen?
I've seen them looking at it and being like, oh, this should go. I'm like, don't even. Mum has missed out on like over 30 years of Christmases. You don't want to get in between me and a Christmas tree now.
Oh, really? What do we call
I still
that?
haven't got my photo with Santa yet. I think I need to do that this year.
Well, COVID going well, yeah.
Hopefully, COVID. Even if we're wearing my mask, I'm gonna have to go sit on the old codger's knee and just be like,
You're gonna have to.
"Hey!"
And what are you going to ask for?
Oh, goodness me! I don't know. I mean, it's like, what do I go back to, like the early years and just be like, I need like 30 years worth of gifts?
Well, why not?
Why not?
So what do you call it? You can get a bridezilla that goes crazy. What do we call those ones who go crazy over their Christmas trees?
I don't know. Just crazy old
Okay.
ladies.
But you're not that old, Kate.
Not yet. Not yet.
I think you got a bit of time to go.
Still got a bit of life in me.
Oh, I think so. Well, thank you very much once again.
Thank you so
Yes.
much.
We've certainly been able to enjoy having our little chat and getting to know you a little bit better. And we look forward to seeing you around again. Until next time, for those who've been watching, for those who will watch later, thank you for being here. Thank you for the comments. We hope you've enjoyed this live stream, and we look forward to catching up with Kate once again. So until next week, when we talk to another person about moving on, look after yourselves, keep safe, and until then, we'll see you. Bye for now.
Hi.